Hi everybody! I hope you're all having a good day. I hope you're all smiling and enjoying your lovely day. In this following tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you on how to get started with Warudo. Now before we get started, first and foremost, in case you don't know what Warudo is actually a new VTuber program. It is currently in open beta on Steam, which you can apply for, which is actually pretty simple. Anybody can apply to be in the open beta for Warudo. And basically Warudo, is a VTuber program that is pretty much like Vinyan, but quite overpowered in all honesty. It is a very good VTuber program. I highly recommend. Now, it can get quite complicated depending on how much you know with Warudo and how much you play with it. I definitely will say for probably simple users, you might get a bit or very confused with Warudo, I will admit, because it's really node reliant. So please keep that in mind as you start using Warudo, that this can get a little complicated. I'll try to, I will be making more Warudo tutorials to help you guys out on better understanding Warudo. But just know that you might get a little confused, but I'll try my best to explain as best as I can on how to use the program. But in this tutorial, I'm only going to be simply showing you on at least getting the tracking working, and I definitely will make sure to make multiple different video tutorials on how to do everything else, like going over some effect stuff or the certain props or environments, all that stuff. I'll go over that as I make more video tutorials and such. But today, we're only going to go over like the basic on just getting the model tracking and just operating, basically. Now, to start off though, just to show you, we have the Warudo editor right here. This is basically where you're going to do all your edits. And right here, this is your Warudo 3D scenery. This is what your character will be captured with, whether with OBS or something like that. Whether, there's spout capture and NDI support with Warudo. There's a lot of stuff Warudo has. It's quite crazy, but again, for this tutorial, I don't want to make it into an ultimate guide where I go over every single setting. I just want to keep it nice and simple and just have it where we just get started. So you'll have your camera here, your directional light. You can mess with the camera, mess with the effects and stuff. Should be pretty simple, just play around with it. And then you have directional light here if you want to play with the light stuff. And then we have the character here. Now this is the character. This is where we're going to begin with setting up our character. We're going to tell Warudo what the VRM file we have, and also our mocap and all the other stuff. This is what we're going to primarily focus on. I will also say as well, Warudo does not support VSF avatar files, I will say that, and they never will, by the way. The reason why Warudo is not supporting VSF avatar files is because Warudo has a really advanced, crazy animation system, and because of that, VSF avatar would break heavily with the animation system. So instead, they have their own sort of VSF avatar file, which is called the Warudo avatar format. So if you want something like VSF avatar but for Warudo, I would highly recommend please check out their documentation with the Warudo format. I'll eventually make a tutorial, English tutorials on how to do more stuff with Warudo, but for the time being, I just want to at least say check out the documentation. Those are at least the best if you're trying to get caught up to speed while I'm trying to make these tutorials, basically. Either way though, now I will say this as well. If you're going to go ahead and click on add asset here, by the way, and you're going to click on adding a motion capture, don't do this. I'm going to say this right now. They will not work. They will not work if you do that. The only way to get these motion capture stuff working, like for example, if I have an iFacial mocap receiver and such, and I just add a character here and all that, it's not going to work. Because again, Warudo is heavily node reliant. It relies on nodes for it to work. And you're probably thinking, oh no, node reliant? That's going to be very stressful because I don't know nodes. Do not worry. I don't even know nodes either. So I will do my best to explain in a way that even if you don't know nodes, I will still explain so you can get everything working just fine without even knowing the nodes. So don't worry. But even then, I'll make sure to also, as I make more tutorials, I'll make sure if I can, I'll try to release some nodes if I can. That should hopefully work with other avatars and stuff to kind of help you out. But either way though, just for the time being, we're going to go into character. This is what we're going to focus on. and you're just going to make sure this is enabled. You can set up the transforms if you like, but I'll keep it at default. We're going to go into source, and this is where you'll be able to select your VRM file. But in order to be able to find your VRM file, you have to click on the open characters folder here. And right here, this is where you're going to basically load your VRM file. So you'll copy and paste it into this folder here, and once you're done, exit out. And then you're going to go over here and click on Import Shadows, or, well, I'm clicking Import Shadows, you don't. You click on whichever VRM file pops up for you. It could also be, again, Warudo format as well, but VSF Avatar will not work. I'm saying that right now. And you should be able to see your avatar breathing and whatnot, which is pretty nice. So basically, the next thing after you set up your VRM file is you're going to set up your motion capture. This is where you actually set it up. You do not go here and add an iFacial mocap receiver and call it done. That's not how it works in Warudo. In fact, this is where you'll set it up. And in case you're wondering, again, I will make sure to have a dedicated video on Warudo and the mocap and how to set up even more multiple motion capture stuff, because this alone can be quite limiting. But don't worry, I will make sure future tutorials will take care of you. I promise. But for now, we're focusing on just the beginning, the basics, basically. So just get started. So, what you're going to do is you're going to click on Set Up Motion Capture. You're going to click on which face capture, or at least the blend shape tracking you want. Now, if you're going to be, if you're like me who has a Rococo mocap suit, for instance, or that, like, you have the Rococo facial subscription thing, or Verdant face capture, or something like that, which honestly, these are just iPhone capture. They're quite the same as iFacial mocap, and the same thing with real life, except OpenC face, that's just normal webcam stuff. Just the same tracking like VC face, basically, and then VMC is like, which, if you have an external one, like, let's say you want Vive Lip Tracker to Warudo, for instance, you could do that. But either way, though, for the most part, if you're a simple iPhone user, you're probably going to stick with just iFacial mocap for the most part, depending on the app you have. If by any chance you have a specific request, I will say this right now, if you have a specific request on the face tracking that you want support in Warudo, do not hesitate to contact the creator. Like, let's say, for example, you want live link support on Warudo. If live link ends up, if there's a live link SDK with Unity, for example, and you want that in Warudo, you can ask for that. Or you want face good tracking in Warudo. If there's a available SDK and you can prove there's an SDK for it, you can request for the face tracking if you so desire. I will say that right now. But that's just if you want to go more complicated. But we'll just stick with iFacial mocap. But if you're a simple webcam, just stick with OpenC face here. It'll act just like VC face, basically, so yeah. Now, you can even set where you want either default VRM blend shapes if you don't have AirKit blend shapes, or if you have AirKit blend shapes, then there's that. It'll even let you know if it's detected. If by any chance it's 0 out of 52, that means you don't have the blend shapes at all. Or maybe you just don't have the right spelling for your blend shapes, depending. There's even Miku Miku Dance blend shapes as well, which are quite limited to 11. In case you're putting a MMD model in here, which I usually do not recommend using MMD model for VTubing. They have really strict copyright rules for a reason, but I won't get into that. Either way, I'll set up mine with AirKit. You can have it where the head movement and body movements are enabled, so if you're somebody who is not using full body capture, I would recommend please keep this on. If you are if you're gonna do it for full body capture and such, or with VR or a mocap suit, please select no for that case. And then you can even set up idle head animation, look at, target. I usually keep those as default, but if you want to mess with them, you may. There's even microphone lip sync as well. Just click on OK. Pose tracking is basically the body tracking, and pretty much what I showed earlier, that we just set up the head thing. So it should allow us to have our simple iPhone tracking with the body moving and such, which our iPhone. Now the thing here is that, for instance, if you're, again, a full body motion capture user, like, you have Rococo, XSense, or even VR mocap, I would say you could choose any of these here. However, if by any chance you just want, let's say, simple hand tracking. Now, there's no leap motion on Warudo quite yet, but in the future they will have leap motion. I promise you that. But if you want hand tracking via webcam, they have Media Pipe, which it's actually pretty good. Not as good as leap motion, but it's still pretty good. So you can select Media Pipe if you want hand tracking via webcam, or if you have the Real Live app which allows face capture and hand tracking at the same time, and you want to use that app, then I would recommend use this app as this app instead. This app is not in English though, but it should be pretty simple to set up if you follow the Warudo documentation for English. So there's that. For my case, I would probably set this for none. Actually, I'll set this to Media Pipe. Actually, I'll do Media Pipe. And you can even have the options actually if you want to set up keyboard and trackpad, which I'll say yes to both of them if you want. And for my case, though, I will have to make sure to turn on my camera. So make sure that you do turn your camera on beforehand. For my case, I did not set up the camera. This is actually the wrong camera. Oh, there it is. So I have my Elka face camera, and that just automatically updates. So that's great. So yeah, definitely make sure your webcam's on. But either way, there's Media Pipe, and same thing with Real Life. And by the way, this keyboard and trackpad is basically like VMagic Mirror VDraw, where they have this stuff. So if you are interested in that, well, Warudo has that. I'm going to click on OK. And basically, what it does, it'll set up 4 assets into blueprints. And pretty much as you can basically see here, I have a mouse just like VMagic Mirror, basically. A mouse and a keyboard. Which I can go ahead, put that in the corner there. I can actually be able to disable it here. If you want to set it as toggles, you could with blueprints. Again, we're not going over that in this tutorial. But basically, pretty much though, you can set up like a trackpad and such if you want. And then for Media Pipe Tracker, you can have your hands outward, as you can see on the top screen up here, basically. Whoops. Right there. So there'll be the screen here that shows your hand tracking, which honestly is actually quite smooth. If you have a very high quality camera, the more smoother the hand tracking will be. Of course, don't go too fast or it won't detect it, but just go moderately fast, and then it'll do a really good job. So there's a cool thing with that. Wow. So that's really cool. And yeah, besides that, then there's iFacial mocap, which I have to go ahead and set up my iPhone for that real quickly. Okay. Whoa. So there you go, there is my face capture, and as you can see, the body is moving. Of course, it's not as bouncy as Vinyan, but that's where you have to kind of configure it. From my experience, it's not going to be really bouncy like Vinyan. Honestly, it's just more natural in the posing. So if you prefer a more natural posing, then I definitely would recommend check out Warudo. But you can basically mess around with like the body movement intensity if you want to move more and such. You could do that. Oh. Even set up eye blinking sensitivity if you want your eye blinking to move, to blink more easier. You can do eye blend shapes and such. And you could just like mess around with settings basically. I could set this to, let's say, 5. Okay, let's say do that. Whoa. But yeah, you basically get the point I'm trying to say. What? Alright. I would probably set that to 2. Yeah, something like that is it's kind of nice. Whoa. So yeah, pretty much, as I just showed, it can get a little overwhelming with the setup of Warudo. Again, it's pretty much like an all-in-one program. That's basically what Warudo is, and it can get quite complicated. But as you learn it more, you'll eventually grow to like it. And I hope that as I post more tutorials on, Warudo, hopefully it'll help you out on better understanding the program and such. So yeah. And there goes my hand tracking. Wow, hello. So there's that. Okay. And yeah, pretty much, that's basically how you set up the face capture. You can even calibrate iFacial mocap too. Wow. Really nice. That way I can fix my angle so that way it's not weird. And also, if by any chance, let's say for example, oh no, you made a big mistake. You made a mistake on the freaking capture. Like, I don't want iPhone, I want webcam capture instead. So instead of iPhone, you can actually click here, remove motion capture. It'll remove the blueprints. Again, you're not gonna go here and add a freaking mocap. You're gonna go here and do it here. And again, I will go over more advanced stuff, but not now. But we're gonna go to set up motion capture. You're gonna set this to OpenC Face instead for webcam users. And you're going to set this to VRM. Yes, you with Warudo, in case you're wondering, does it really have AirKit with OpenC Face? Yes, but it's not really that good. Because of just the limitation with OpenC Face, so it's gonna be kinda I will say. It's not going to be as good as Meowface. You're probably, if you're trying to look for a non-iPhone, a non-iPhone alternative for AirKit stuff, just stick with Meowface and just do, just utilize VMC or the iFacial mocap protocol. Basically what I showed earlier. So either way, we'll just stick with VRM. In this case, just keep it simple. Set this to face cam. Basically do the same thing. Leave everything default, but leave this. So we'll do that. OpenC Face. Hit OK. Set this to media pipe. For now, we'll just say no to these, but if you want to have it, you can. So just want to add a bit of a correction right here. So when it comes to webcams, they can be quite finicky. I'm going to say that right now. That's just the nature of webcams. Basically, webcams can only be used at one program at a time and one usage at a time. So if you ever struggle by any chance with Warudo and getting your webcam working, that's just sort of a nature of webcams. Do make sure to let the developer know about it, because that's just kind of, like, they'll help you out making sure to get things set up and all that. But basically, just wanted to elaborate what I did a couple minutes ago. This was something, now, again, the process I did is correct. However, the thing that I was supposed to do after I removed the motion capture with iFacial mocap and the media pipe hands was I have to reset Warudo. The reason why is because I was having the webcam on media pipe, and because I was switching over to OpenC Face, it kind of sees it as an extra processor, basically, an extra program that needs the webcam. And the thing, though, is that it just got the webcam to be a bit confused. Therefore, it ended up not working at all after I did what I just did. So the solution for me was to restart Warudo, and it worked just fine. Again, it can get a little bit finicky with the webcam. So if by chance you struggle with getting your webcam working with Warudo, then I completely understand. Definitely make sure to let the developer know. There is a Discord server. Please make sure to check in the description and even the pinned comment. I'll make sure to link it so that way you can join, and make sure to let the developer know in case you struggle with setting up webcam. But either way, though, I mean, as long as you set it up right at the first attempt, though, for me, it's because I was showing multiple methods, but for you, you may set up a much better way. So either way, just wanted to say that. And yeah, let's continue on with the video. Okay, I ended up actually getting OpenC Face working, so my mistake was, just to say this, let's say you did the iPhone setup first, and then you use media pipe, basically, right? Yeah, the thing is that the webcam tends to be quite picky, basically, and well, in order to get OpenC Face working after you set up iFacial mocap, you have to reset the program, so that's why it broke. So just keep that in mind. If by any chance, like, whether media pipe or OpenC Face doesn't work on Warudo, I would probably say try resetting the program and see if that might help you out. Otherwise, feel free to talk with the developer about it, because I will say it was working on me with my other project and such. But yeah, sometimes it may not work, and it just requires a reset. So yeah. But either way, as you can see, I got the the OpenC face thing working, so that's good. So if you're a webcam user, there you go, you got your webcam. Wah. Alright, well anyways though, so besides the motion capture stuff, you can also set up your your head idle animation or your look at things. You can mess around with this basically. But we'll just go ahead and just move on from here basically. Either way, now let's go on to expressions. How are we going to set up expressions? Well, expressions, these can actually act just like how VC Face is. So you know how like VC Face you can either have additive or non-additive blend shapes? Well, you can actually do that. To start off, you're going to have to click on Import VRM Expressions. That's step number 1. And it's going to literally import every single expression your model has. So I would highly recommend, if you can, please make sure you delete some of the extras if your model has any that are detected. So just keep that in mind. Like for my case, I have my Violet Tracker blend shapes detected here. That needs to be deleted, so I would just click the X button to remove it. Unless you're into that stuff, I don't know. But that's up to you. Alright. But either way though, you can do that. But pretty much what these will do is they will basically set up your expressions. What you can do is you can actually set up automatic hotkeys to kind of give you like a base template for your blueprint. So you'll click on generate key binding, let it do its thing, and it's just going to auto-generate all these stuff. Now again, you do not have to memorize these hotkeys, you could be able to change it. So with that, you'll have your key binding here. And you'll be able to go into blueprints, go to expression keybind here, and this is where all the magic happens with your expressions. And also, by the way, in case you're wondering how am I moving this thing, just left click and drag, scroll wheel, use your middle mouse button to kind of zoom in and out, and you'll see all the blueprints here. And you probably may be confused, like, what the heck am I looking at? Well, do not overcomplicate it. It's quite simple formula. Literally just focus on one thing at a time. Whoops. There's that. Whatever. Okay. So just focus on these 2 nodes at a time. So they just go by 2s. So for this one, basically what this node is saying is that on keystroke, this is your hotkey. Your hotkey will be set to whichever you want here. Now, yes, it can be quite limiting. You can set it to a stream deck, but again, trying to keep this as fast as I can. So you can set this to wherever you want. A key, your numbers, or even your numpad. Let's just say, for example, I want this on numpad 1, for example, and you can have it where you can hold Control, Shift, or Alt. I will just say no to all these and just keep it as just my normal numpad, but that's if you want. And then you can set the, so after you set up your hotkey, whether you're doing Control Shift or Alt and such, whichever one you want. Once you hit that hotkey numpad 1, it will trigger the angry expression or whatever expression's here. So character, this is referring to your character, and yes, I think, I'm pretty sure you can load multiple models in Warudo. It can get a little finicky, but we'll just stick with one avatar for now. But basically, you'll have your character right here, and then you'll have the expression. You can select whichever one that was created with your VRM, whichever was imported with VRM, basically. So there's that. Is transient, I would just leave that alone, don't touch that. And the action could be toggle or enable and disable, whichever you like. And pretty much the same applies to every extra one that you have here, even clear expressions. So that's just kind of all you really need to know, at least on a basic level. And if I press on the numpad 1, I get very angry. And also as a fun fact as well, if you're trying to achieve, just want to say this, I will make multiple tutorials on Warudo on more specific stuff. But in case you're wondering, by any chance, on how to set up where it kind of acts like VC Face, where the blend shapes are more, they're non-additive, where they can kind of toggle, like, if I press numpad 1, basically, I'll have my angry, but if I press numpad 2, it will, it'll switch over to, like, a joy face or something, and it won't blend into each other. Please make sure you set the layer to 0, for the blend shapes that you want to mix. So, joy will be set to layer 0 and 0. So just make sure it's set to 0 basically, or just the same layer basically. Again, I'll go over more of this layer, and if you want additive, if you want more additive blend shapes basically, like let's say you have heart eyes and you want to mix in such, then whichever is the additive, like let's say this one right here, I would set that to whichever layer other than 0. So there's that. Just want to say that. Also would set that to 0, for instance. So yeah. Just wanted to at least quickly elaborate that. But again, I will make sure there's individual tutorials on this. I'm just rushing this one. And then you have, of course, animation, which if you want to have an animation with this, you can. There are at least like about 500 multiple tutorials, 500 animations here, my bad. And basically I can select whichever one. Yes, there's also the not safe for work animations. I ain't gonna go over that. But basically I can have it where there could be, I don't know, let's say wave hands, I guess, and there's that. I wave my hand. There's definitely a lot of poses you can choose from. It's pretty nice. Whoa, I'm dancing. Oh my god, I'm dancing. Okay, I actually did not. I just found out about this actually. Wow. Shocker. They have dancing. Woo. Okay, anyways, besides the dancing, please stop the dancing. Okay, just have a pose. Thank you. Yeah, let this be our default pose, basically. Blah. Okay, so overlaying animations, you can actually, again, this is what I was meaning of why VSF Avatar is not a thing in this program. It's because you can mix and match your animations, which is pretty nice. Again, don't overmix it. It can look pretty weird, but I'm just showing you can do this stuff. So I can, you can just mess around with the setting stuff. You can add an upper body mask and all that, whichever it is, basically. So yeah. And you can even override your hand poses too, which is really nice. You can do hand poses. You can even add breathing animations, so I can do heavy breathing, I guess. Like, I can hyperventilate, I guess. Look at me go. I can't breathe. Okay, I can't breathe. Alright, well either way, I usually set it to like a low value. But either way, you have breathing animations on Warudo. You can even have swaying animation if you want. Also, why are my hands freaking behind? Can I please remove that? Thank you. And I'm probably gonna go ahead and there you go. Just set this up to something else. The poses are fun. Okay, just set to default. I stand. Alright. Besides that, though, you can even set up look at IKs for your eyes and such. There's that. Body IKs if you want to do crazy stuff. And I would not recommend doing the ragdoll quite yet, but there's ragdoll if you want. But I think it's a little broken right now. But it's like, for example, like Vignon's ragdoll, where you have like for example a channel point where your model dies or something, then yeah, that's coming up on Warudo. So yeah, but pretty much in a nutshell, that's pretty much the main things you need to know on getting started with Warudo and such. Again, you can play with the cameras and such, but this is how you get started with at least the tracking and all that. And yeah, again, just to recap, all you mainly have to do is go to character, open character folder, BRM, and then you have your motion capture. This is where you'll set up your stuff. Just showing you again, I'll remove my my open C-face thing and set this up to iFacial mocap. Easy peasy. There you go. So yeah, pretty much that's it in a nutshell. You can mess with the settings. There'll be the receiver here, and then of course blueprints, which you don't really have to mess with unless it kind of depends on what settings you want to do. It kind of depends. Again, I will make sure I make as much tutorials because Warudo really deserves some intense multiple tutorials, because again, this program is quite intensive. I will say that it can get quite intensive and a bit overcomplicated, but don't worry, I'm here to help. But either way, hope this helped you at least on getting started, and yeah, I definitely look forward to making more Warudo tutorials to help you guys out on getting started with your Warudo journey, and hopefully making you guys into Warudo masters just like me. Well, actually not really like me, because believe me, I'm not really a Warudo master, I only know the basics, but I'm here to help you out anyways. But either way though, and also fun, just making sure you can also hit the exit when you're done, and voila. And again, I will make sure to go over more stuff basically, so yeah. And also if you need the thing back, just press the escape key and voila. But yeah, that's about it. Let me know if you have any other questions, but again, I would recommend, if you're gonna ask any other question regarding Warudo, I will make sure, I'm already aware, I'm probably gonna make about 10 or even 20 videos regarding Warudo and such on, or maybe, I don't know, it depends how many ideas I get, basically, but either way, I will make sure that you guys will get these more tutorials regarding Warudo, and hopefully, yeah, but either way though, I hope you have a lovely day. My socials are below if you have any other questions, not even just on Warudo alone. It could just be for any other 3D stuff. But again, I would recommend join the Warudo Discord server. There is a Warudo Discord server. So if you would like to request specific features on Warudo, the developer is very active, and they're willing to take any other requests if you have any. So feel free to join the Discord server, request away, ask for help there. And I'm even there as well if you want to, I guess, at me on the server, I guess, or something. But even then, I would recommend talk with the developer themselves, as they are the ones who are the most knowledgeable in their program. But either way, have a lovely day.